Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Lucy and I'm going to take you through today a yin yoga class, 60-minute class, based on the fire element from traditional Chinese medicine, 5-element theory. So if you've followed some of the other classes that I've done on the different elements in the 5-element theory, you'll start to get an idea of this cycle happening. One goes from to the other, to the other, to the other. So fire, if you think of the cycle of the seasons, then fire is associated with summer, the peak of summer. So we can think of the expressions of summer, and this relates to the expressions of the fire element. So a lot more sunshine, a lot more heat, a lot more activity and outward expression. The opposite to our water element, which is associated with winter, which is more inward and slowing down and being more reflective. So the fire element is the only element in the 5-element system that has 4 meridians that it's associated with. All the others have 2, and they are all in the arms. We have the heart, which is on the inside of the arms, the small intestine along the back and into the shoulders and neck and the face. And then we have the heart protector in the triple warmer. And again, they're on the inside and the outside of the arms, essentially. That's the main area, and the areas will be opening up when we particularly target the fire element meridians. So the heart meridian kind of speaks for itself. You can quite easily see the connection between love and joy and summer and brightness and happiness. And the emotion that is associated with the fire element is joy, is happiness and love. And the small intestine as well is connected, and the relationship between with the fire element, the heart and the small intestine, is very much associated with our one-on-one relationships. So you can think of the heart as being so important that it actually has its own protector, its own bodyguard, and this is the what's known as the pericardium, or the heart protector. And the pericardium and the triple burner is 3 chambers: the lower burner, the middle burner, and the upper burner. So they're not organs as such, but when Western medicine started to dissect and look at bodies on the inside, which traditional Chinese medicine practitioners didn't really do, they did see that these burners were separated by a layer of fascia. So you can see physically how they're separated, whereas the traditional Chinese medicine practitioners just knew and could see and observe that they are energetically separated. And the pericardium and the triple heater is much more about, so the pericardium is more about one-on-one relationships, and the triple heater is more about our relationships and our community. So you can see when the things are flowing in the fire element, then we are open to relationships, but we're also quite discerning with who gets to visit the heart. And those who don't have our heart in the best interest, they don't get access, with loving boundaries. And when things are out of balance, then we can either be completely closed off to any sort of love or affection because we're worried about being hurt, or we're so open without any boundaries that we mistake friendship for intimate relationships. So we're going to open up this heart space and open up the chest area and the back of the heart space as well. The element that goes before the heart, the fire element, is the wood element associated with spring, which makes total sense as it goes into summer. So we'll be opening up the liver and the gallbladder as well to just get the run into summer as well. So just a little bit of information to paint a picture about the heart and the fire element. So think joy, summer, and really clear and loving boundaries. So first, just place both hands on your heart. Let's place the left hand on first and the right hand over the top. Close down the eyes. And just take some deep breaths and imagine that the breath is flowing through the heart space. It's effortlessly and lovingly flowing through and out the other side with every inhale and exhale. Just notice if you can feel the rhythm of your heart under your left palm. Notice if energetically you feel a softness here or maybe a tightening and holding on. Relaxing the shoulders. And allowing the breath to flow freely through the heart space. And then opening the eyes. So our first pose, we'll take some cushions or a bolster. So if you haven't got one, just grab one now. If you haven't got a bolster, just prop up on a couple of cushions. So we've got a few options for our reclined butterfly pose. So we want a nice wide diamond with the legs, and then either take the cushions or the bolster long ways, and we slowly begin to lie back and lie onto the bolster. Now if you feel that it's too far away, you can take some books or another cushion and maybe take it underneath the far end of the bolster so that you just lift the head and lift the bolster a little higher. And if once you've got down there and you don't feel so much of an opening in the front of the heart space, then you can take the bolster or the cushions sideways, quite easy if you've got a pillow, and lie back so that the heart space is across the bolster, so it's not on the lower back, it's more the lower parts of the shoulder blades. And then let the head fall back and take another cushion under the head if the ground's too far away, and just let the wings open in the arms. So it's quite an opening and exposing pose to be our first pose. And we want to find a place where we feel we can really melt over the bolster. If at any point this is beginning to be a little too much for the hips, by all means take a couple of cushions underneath the thighs to support the thighs. And then keeping the back of the hands on the ground wherever they are. But as you breathe, imagine again that the breath is flowing freely through the heart. So we have a sense of softness. We have a sense of vulnerability as we open up the heart space, but we also have an inner knowing that our boundaries are clear, strong and loving. So we understand that having an open heart doesn't mean that we are available to be hurt. It's more that we're available to receive and give more love. And if we find ourselves in a situation where the heart could be hurt, then with love and compassion, we state our clear boundaries and remove ourselves from the situation. And protect the heart without closing it off. With every exhale, you can think of the whole of the front of the heart space opening and relaxing and releasing. The inhale is expanding gently, and exhale softening and melting. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the belly. And as we settled into the pose, as with any of our practices, but particularly with our yin yoga practice, we incorporate our mindfulness. So our mindfulness practice is being aware of the whole of your experience. Physical sensations, energetic or emotional sensations, as well as the movement in the mind. And rather staying in the lower mind, thinking, we reside in the higher mind, and welcoming and letting any sensation come into our awareness without judgment, without stories. And every time you notice that your attention has stuck onto one particular thought or story, and it's wandered off with that train of pattern, we just widen out again and welcome the thoughts, welcome the sensations without clinging onto them, just allowing them to be there exactly as you find them. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. Slowly from here, bring your legs together. You can use your arms if you like. And to come out of the pose, you can either roll onto one side or you can come straight up, whatever's easiest. And just take the bolster to one side or the cushions and come all the way down to lying on your back, letting the legs be long and the arms rest beside you. So giving yourself and your body an opportunity to realign and readjust after the pose. This is called our rebound. So in Yin Yoga, if you're new to the practice or this is your first Yin Yoga class, we hold the poses for a number of minutes so that the muscles begin to relax and the drier tissue, the fascia, begins to take up the stress of the pose. And in order for that to happen, we have to give the fascia time and space. And then once it's been in the pose, your body's been in the pose for a while, and we come back to our rebound, this is an opportunity for your body to assimilate the pose and for you to simply witness however it adjusts itself. So it's not a moment of checking out, rather a moment of checking in. And roll onto one side and come back up to sitting. And we'll build on from this reclined butterfly to a forward fold butterfly. So rearranging the legs again in the same place that you found them before. This time we'll fold forwards, so you can take a cushion or bolsters to prop yourself up. You can maybe make a little pile and maybe have something to support the head, however your body wants to be supported. It might be that you simply let the head fall forward and that might be enough for you today. So we're getting a little bit more into the groin and into the inner thighs as well as the back of the heart space and into the shoulders this time. So take a few breaths to ease your way into the version that your body's asking for today, and be mindful that it might be different to another day. If you need to take support underneath the thighs or the knees, if it's a little too much for the hips, then welcoming those sensations, because it means that your body is talking to you. We slowly begin to ease our way and find a place of stillness. Maybe take a long, deep inhale, imagining the inhale flowing through the heart, and a long exhale. And again, we come back to stillness and silence. Come back to a place where we can witness whatever sensations come up without judgment, without disassociating. So welcoming whatever sensations arise into your awareness. And resting here, finding ease wherever you can. Asking yourself, how can I soften in this pose? And if at any point during the pose your body wants to just back off a little bit, or maybe go a little further into the pose, then responding slowly to whatever arises. Perhaps just sitting and witnessing it for a little bit before understanding which way your body would like to move. Continuing to flow the breath through the heart. Inviting a little inner smile
into your practice. It doesn't have to be a big grin on your face, just be a lightness. Relaxing the belly and relaxing the jaw, melting in this pose. And take another 5 deep breaths through the heart. And when you finish your 5th breath, slowly bringing the body back up. Take a few breaths to come out of the pose so you're not rushing anywhere. We're going to come back to lying on our back, so you might want to bring the knees together first and windscreen wipe the knees just a little bit. You might go straight back, you might straighten out the legs, and we'll meet in a mini shavasana, back in our rebound. And again, once you're back here, just witness. Staying quiet in the mind, quiet in the body. Watching the more subtle changes and shifts. So for the next one, you can keep your head on this end of the mat, if you can still see me, or you can switch so that your head's on the other side, but roll onto your belly. And the pose we're going to do now is Sphinx, with an option of going to seal a little later for those of you whose bodies are asking you for it. So first take the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. And it might be that this is a little too much for some people's backs or shoulders, and you have the option of bringing your arms a little further forward, and that just eases off the back a little bit. Or you can grab a cushion or a bolster and take it underneath the chest. That also gives your body a little extra support. For your head, you can either let it hang gently forwards, or you can just let it sit up on top of the shoulders. There's somewhere where it can relax. Now this pose does have an element of yang. If you think yang is the opposite to yin, so yang is effort. We have an element of lifting in the heart, but it's not in a way that makes you freeze and bring rigidity or contraction in the body. It's just an element of lifting. If you find that there's a pinching in the lower back, you can explore taking your feet a little wider, or you can take your elbows a little further. So we might find a small gentle sensation in the lower back, but if anything's sharp, then just ease off and find a different version that works for you. We're opening up that heart space here, opening up into the meridians. And you can look at your little fingers here and press your little finger into the mat. So this is where our heart meridian ends, on the underside of the little finger. So just bringing awareness to that part of the hand and that part of the finger. And just do this a couple of times, maybe with the eyes closed, and just notice where it contracts in the shoulders or in the chest as well. So the meridian runs from the heart along the inside of the arm and into the little finger. This is also getting into our heart protector meridian, and you can push down the middle finger into the mat. And this is our heart protector meridian, so it runs on the inside of the arms and into the middle finger. And then closing down the eyes if they're not closed already. And even though this pose has an element of yang, an element of effort, see if you can still have a sense of softness and letting go here. Now for some of you, you might want to stay here. Some of you may feel that your body is asking you to go a little deeper, and you'll know soon enough once you get to seal whether this works for you or not. So seal is to straighten the elbows so that they're off the ground, and then take the hands a little wider. Fingers spread nice and wide, and you can take the feet a little wider as well. So for some of you, this might be just too much for the back, in which case just come down to Sphinx pose with your elbows on the ground, or you can stay here in seal. It's totally up to you. And even though this might feel a little more dynamic, can you still have a sense of ease and softness? A sense of drawing the shoulder blades down, the heart opening to the front. And again, you can play with pressing the little finger into the ground. That's our heart meridian, and our middle finger, which is our heart protector. Staying soft in the body and soft in the mind. And take another full breath in, full breath out. If you are in seal, and slowly drawing the elbows down. And then everyone coming all the way down onto the belly. Bring the arms beside you, palms face up, and turn the head to one side. And take 5 breaths here, slow and deep. And turn the head to the other side. 5 breaths on the other side. And again, just witnessing whatever comes up. watch as the body resettles in its own sweet way. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, slowly come all the way up to all fours. So we'll continue opening this front side of the body. Take the knees directly underneath the hips. Keep the knees over the hips over the knees, and then pad the hands forward and let the heart and the head melt down. Now again, if this is a little too much for the chest, then by all means take a bolster or some cushions under the chest to ease off a little bit. And if you're quite open in the shoulders here, you might even want to take a bolster or some cushions underneath the forearms, but just as long as you keep the head on the ground. Find a place where you can rest and find ease. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the belly. And again, coming back to your mindfulness practice to witness whatever sensation comes into your awareness with no judgment, with no stories. And take another full breath in, full breath out. And slowly begin to walk your hips back to your heels. This time we'll take our knees together and the arms rest beside you with the forehead either on the ground or on a cushion. And take a long deep inhale here. And exhale as you let the shoulders melt forwards. Letting the body soften and release. And place the hands underneath the shoulders, slowly come up. And again, turn around so that you are lying on your back. Bend the knees so the soles of the feet are on the ground. And the arms are spread nice and wide. So we'll take the left leg over the right, so crossing the left thigh over the right. And you might stay here, you might bind the lower legs as well. Shuffle your hips towards the left and then let the knees fall to the right, binding them once or twice. We want to keep the knees relatively high up, so it doesn't have to be all the way up at the armpit, but not letting the legs be kind of straight or just a little bit bent. Both shoulder blades want to be on the ground, so if you find that your left shoulder blade is coming off the ground, then just grab a cushion nearby and prop it underneath at both knees, so underneath your left shin and knee, and you'll find that that helps the left shoulder begin to drop down. You can turn your palms up to the sky to signal surrender. And you can look up with your nose facing the sky, or you can look over towards your left shoulder, left fingertips, if that feels comfortable for the neck. And take a long, deep inhale here. And exhale. So this is not only opening up the heart meridian and the heart protector meridian, but also giving the small intestines a little ring and a little squeeze. This is a great way of wringing out any toxins or any stagnant energy that we don't need, and then when we come out of the twist, the small intestines and the organs will be flooded with fresh blood, fresh prana, fresh chi. However you want to look at it, it's like a little reset. Staying soft in your body and soft in your mind. Relaxing the jaw and the belly. Slowly bring your head back up to center. Inhale, bring the knees up. Uncross the legs and just bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Resettle the hips. Just pause here for a few breaths before we go to the other side. Pause and witness. And swap sides. So right thigh comes over the left, Shuffling the bum over to the right side and let both knees fall down to the left. And keeping the nose facing the sky or turning the head towards the right fingertips. And you can imagine again here with every inhale and exhale that the breath flows freely through the heart. And you're giving the organs and the small intestine a little squeeze with your twist. Softening the jaw and the belly. I'm leaving you in these poses for a little more silence, so you can really check in with the more subtle sensations. The subtle sensations in the body as well as the mind or energetically. So having that space to receive whatever information you have without judgment, without analyzing, without trying to rearrange it or repurpose it. And take 5 more deep breaths. And when you finish your 5th breath, slowly, mindfully bring the body back up to center. And crossing the legs, and just take a few moments to pause with your feet on the ground, knees are bent. And then let the legs be long for a mini rebound, mini shavasana. The arms can rest beside you. And then roll onto one side. Slowly come back up to sitting. This time we're going to lengthen the legs out in front. come to a forward fold. So those poses were quite exposing for that heart space and opening here. So we're just going to bring it back in, not to protect it or to close it off, just to have a sense of a loving hug around the front of the heart space. So you might want to prop yourself up onto a cushion behind you or a bolster if you feel that folding forwards is not going to happen in any way if you don't. Or you can even take, this is not really about stretching out the front back of the legs, it's more about folding forward. So it might be nice that you just have a bolster or a cushion underneath the knees so the knees are bent, and then as you fold forward it's nice and gentle, and you can just find a place where you can be for the duration of the pose. If your head feels like the neck's a bit sore here, then by all means take another cushion or a bolster or a block or something underneath the forehead and let the arms drop down. So again, it's not about pulling ourselves forward in order to find a stretch. It's about finding a place where we feel we're giving the front of the heart space a nice loving hug. So be easy on yourself here. Somewhere you can find ease in the body. And slowly ease your way up out of the pose. If you have the bolster under your knees, you might want to keep it there. We come all the way down to our final shavasana. Letting the hands rest beside you, palms face the sky. Closing the eyes and letting the body rest. And once you've found stillness, again, you can imagine that the breath is flowing freely through the heart. Like it's a whisper, just passing through with every inhale and exhale.
Take 5 more deep breaths where you are. And when you finish your 5th breath, slowly roll onto one side and just pause here. And press the hands into the ground and come up to sitting. Stay nice and slow with the body. And again, place both hands on the heart, left hand first, then the right hand over the top. And with the eyes closed, imagine that breath flowing through the heart. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw. And reminding ourselves that although the fire element is associated with the peak of summer, heat, the peak of expression and movement, we can still have this softness and this lovingness and this inner listening. It's our yin quality to our yang element. And taking this softness and open heartness with you for the rest of your day. Bring the palms together to touch. A long deep inhale. Exhale through the mouth with a sigh. And bowing the head down to the heart. Namaste. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Keep your heart healthy and happy. If you feel you'd like to donate for this class, if you're watching live or if you are watching when it's in the library, then we have the link attached to the description. And if that's not available for you right now, then this is my gift from me to you. Check out the other classes. We have other yin classes that are targeting the other elements in the 5-element theory, as well as more yang classes and then talks and workshop as well. So check out all the different classes and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.